I'm 5 for 14, so pretty much doomsday scenarios for my last chance qualifier predictions. But there are still 6 more best of 5s to be played in the SEL Last Chance Qualifier before our entire playoff bracket is set, and so I'm going to predict all 6 of those correctly. Welcome back to the State of the SEL. There's a lot I didn't see coming when it came to the upper bracket of the Last Chance Qualifier. I didn't see Clemson figuring things out finally offensively and 6-0ing Alabama and Auburn. I didn't foresee a Hammy Crackers-less FAU getting swept by Montevallo. I didn't see UAB finally sorting things out and going on a run that I've been hoping they would go on this entire season. And then I didn't see UAH Blue just grinding as much as possible to make sure they're prepared for the Last Chance Qualifier so they wouldn't go down to that lower side of the bracket. I didn't see a lot coming, I'll be honest, and so my predictions, they reflected that. But the lower bracket of the Last Chance Qualifier still holds 4, technically 3 now, playoff spots for teams to claim. So we're going to be going through those matches, and I'm going to be previewing and predicting, for better or for worse, what I think is going to happen there. On the top side of the lower bracket, we have our first pool that we're going to be looking at, where UAH White and Alabama will be playing first, and the winner of that gets the Oklahoma Sooners. Now this one, very interesting to me, because I think all 3 of these teams right now are playoff caliber teams. But Alabama, I don't know what's happened in the last 7 days of play, but they are on a slippery slope at the moment, losing to Clemson 3-0, but Clemson 3-0'd Auburn, so that's not a terrible result. And then over the weekend on land in Kentucky at the Bluegrass Boost Battle, they don't make top 12, which I had them pegged as a potential top 8 team. They played UAH White in the middle of that event. They got beat in 5 games, almost completed the reverse sweep, but they still lost in 5 games to UAH White, who's trending very up right now. Lost to Auburn in 5 games last week in the Last Chance Qualifier. And then on land this past weekend, they made top 8, which is an insane result for the UAHB team. And I don't know if they're going to be coming back down to earth for this second week of the Last Chance Qualifier. But if they don't, I see them beating Alabama again. And then honestly, against Oklahoma, I'm not entirely sure if they take that or not, but there is a good chance that it does happen. I do think Oklahoma gets out of this group, but honestly, it's a toss-up. All 3 of these teams, playoff caliber. Next up is a pool of East Carolina, UNCC, and Montevallo, which is another really curious group for me, and I'm surprised that this one ended up happening. It helps that FAU didn't have Hammy Crackers last week, and so losing to Montevallo allowed Montevallo to now have 2 chances at making it to playoffs. But I've got UNCC beating East Carolina. I'm just not a huge believer in ECU right now. They struggled on the top side. They got swept by Louisiana Tech. They lost to UAB in week 4 of the regular season. I just don't see them taking down a UNCC squad that has some really good results to their name already this season. But moving on to play Montevallo in the next round, Montevallo's looking good, and this may be more of a prediction with my heart than it is a prediction with my brain, but I think Montevallo could beat UNCC. I think they definitely beat ECU if that upset ends up happening, but I really think they beat UNCC as well, which that would be an upset, but Montevallo a little hot right now because FAU, even without Hammy Crackers, is still a good team, and Montevallo was able to sweep them, so we'll see what happens. Again, these Last Chance Qualifier groups are such toss-ups. I'm struggling to predict them, and we all saw how my predictions went last week, so we'll see what happens, but I'm riding the Montevallo train. Then, Pool 3. This was a little easier to predict. I think FAU getting Hammy Crackers back after he was absent last week is a big buff to that team, and Arkansas and Louisiana Tech, teams I could see in the top 16, but they're just in the path of a potentially resurging FAU roster. So I see FAU going 2-0 and making it to playoffs because they were one of my contenders at the beginning of this season. And I don't think that's really changed. I think they've been knocked down a few pegs by some other teams that have risen through the ranks, but with Hammy Crackers, FAU is still a formidable team that can take down big rosters in the playoffs. But Louisiana Tech and UARC, I don't think are big enough obstacles to remove the Owls from their path to playoffs. And this last group in the lower side of the Last Chance Qualifier, it already played out, but I am going to reveal who I had predicted for this group just to keep myself honest. So UTK Black and South Carolina Garnet playing in round 1. That one actually went to game 5. I had Garnet honestly sweeping UTK Black, but UTK Black showing us what they can do against a pretty good roster, so that bodes well for them going into the spring split, I feel. And then Auburn versus South Carolina Garnet. I had Garnet winning this one too. I thought they were going to make the 2-0 series run to playoffs, but Auburn took them down in 4 games, which is a big result for the Tigers, who have been reeling a little bit in the last couple weeks of the SEL. So now they can reset, Auburn can, going into playoffs and see what they can do in bracket play, which they were able to survive the Last Chance Qualifier, but competition's only getting tougher. So one step forward, and we'll see if they can keep them going or if it's just 2 steps back come round 1. So there you go. That's my prediction / preview video for the last couple matches of the Last Chance Qualifier, which means playoffs starts next week. I can't wait. I'm not going to be in the booth for those first couple of series, but I still can't wait to see what happens with the final 16 teams in the SEL. It's going to be electric. If you thought the Last Chance Qualifier was crazy, I cannot wait to see what happens in the playoffs. But new video will be coming out about that next week, where I'll go over some of the LCQ results as well, previewing those squads that dodged the chaos that the LCQ always brings. So hopefully you enjoyed this state of the SEL. It's a little shorter, but still informative. So good luck to all the players playing today. I can't wait to see what the top 16 teams of the SEL are able to do over the course of the next 5 weeks.